Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the Medeek wall plugin. The reason why I'm making this video today is because I'm still working on the Gable and shed tool, and unfortunately it's still not quite complete. This icon right here, and if you do click on that, you'll notice that it will just tell you this feature is coming soon, and hopefully we will have it finished up here in the next month or two. But in the meantime, I just wanted to provide you with kind of a workaround for the moment. It's a bit of a manual workaround, but I think you'll see that it's not perhaps as bad as one might think. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw down basically just a rectangular structure, and I just want to show you basically how to manually go ahead and create a balloon frame gable wall. So let's just go ahead, perhaps a 24 by 36, and I'm not going to go into a lot of details with the structure, just setting up something here pretty basic so that we can utilize it to frame up this gable wall. Okay, so first things first, let's throw down 4 walls. I'm just going to go ahead and leave everything as defaults that I have set up in my system here, and you'll notice I start on the long edge of the wall here versus the short edge, and the reason is because you'll notice as you go ahead and wrap your walls around this foundation that depending on which corner you start on will kind of automatically drive what's happening with the way the corners are finished out. And I want the wall on the ends to extend out to be what's called the outside corner. And so I'm going to go ahead and hide the sheathing and cladding here so I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and hide that wall cladding, and a couple other things I'm going to hide here as well, just to get them out of our way. Let's take the trim out of the way for now. There's a lot of layers, of course, created. Okay, so what you can see here is this end wall extends out to the outside edge. If you look here at the seal plate, and you can see that this wall does not. And you can probably frame up these gable end walls however you like. Whether you want this wall to extend out or you want the other wall to extend out, it's probably up to you. But this is just the way I'm going to do it today. So let's go ahead and now just throw down a gable roof on this structure. So real quick here, and it's not too hard. And I'm going to do symmetric, just pretty much leave everything as default. What I'm going to do though here on the gable end, I'm going to do a custom. I'm going to do a 2x6 at the, and you'll see on the end rafter, and advanced framing options, sure. And let's just leave the gutters off for now. And that should be good enough to get us going. Okay, so now we've got ourselves a roof. Okay, so let's hide a few of the other layers there as well, just so we get things out of the way. I like to do that. Let's turn the roof cladding off, and the roof sheathing, and the soffit and fascia. Okay, so we're just kind of down at the bare bones of the structure. Okay, so what's happening here is, we've got some rafters that are, I think they're, looks like 2x8s, 2x10s maybe. And at the gable end here we have a 2x6. And now we're wanting to balloon frame this wall up until it meets this end rafter or barge rafter. Now, what I typically do in situations like this is, if I don't have to manually do it, then great. But in this case, I'm having to manually modify this end wall to bring it up to this wall. So to make things really simple, go ahead, get all your windows, excuse me, all your doors in. Let me have a drink of water here, sorry. Get all that done before we start the manual edit, because once you start manually editing this wall panel, there really is no going back, or at least there's no editing it with the parametrics, which is basically this menu, right? So you can always edit the wall with this menu, but once we start manually editing it, any changes you've made manually will be removed or erased if you go ahead and regen this wall or edit this wall. So, if you've got windows or doors going into this thing, and I'm not going to go into a lot of details of the windows and doors, I'm just going to drop the openings in there just to demonstrate, and then I'm going to throw another window in there, maybe over here somewhere. So, you know, you got windows and doors. Okay, get all those in there, get that finalized, change those up, get those, you know, modify those to your heart's content. Once you're pretty much secure with what you have on that gable wall, then we're going to go ahead now and manually edit this wall. So the first thing I would do is take this wall, open this up, and basically you want to get these studs above this ridge so we can use the trim tool on them, make things easier, life easy on ourselves. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this like 200 inches, whatever that is in feet, I don't know, 16 feet I guess. Hit update. Okay, so now you can see that I've basically driven this wall height, you know, left the other walls the same, they're fine, and I've just pushed that wall way up there in the air. It doesn't matter really how high you push it up there. So now we can adjust our top plate and then go ahead and trim these studs. But before I even do that, I'm going to take this wall assembly now, and as you notice here, you've got a kind of a keyword here in this instance name. So if I remove these keywords, and I'm just going to call this, for instance, Gable wall 1, okay, and by doing that, now I've locked this wall from editing. See, if I try to edit it, it no longer has the ability to edit it. If I click on this wall, you'll notice it has all the options for editing it. So now I've essentially locked this wall out from the plugin. The plugin no longer identifies this wall as a wall. It doesn't know what to do with it, so it doesn't do anything. So now, and the good thing is with that, now that you just won't inadvertently edit this wall and, you know, basically remove or hose all of your changes. So we don't want to do that. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to take this top plate. I'm going to just jump into this group. I'm going to grab these two top plates. You know, you could do a single plate, you could do a top plate. It doesn't really matter, whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to kind of grab, you know, somewhere in the center of this thing, there somewhere, and I want to just carefully trying to get that over there somewhere. It's always a little bit fun trying to move this thing. Oh, let's try that again. It's being stubborn on me. Okay, let's just shift it down there, and then we can get it to where we need to go. Okay, so, and then, you know, this isn't really precise or anything. I'm just trying to get this right here so that I can line this edge, top edge up kind of with this inclined edge. Now I'm going to select the rotate tool. I'm going to select that. I'm just going to rotate these guys right into place. Okay, and you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So and you can see it doesn't extend out far enough. Okay, that's fine. We're just going to go here, and let's see here. I need my space mouse back. I'm just going to take this whole group and shift it down a little ways down here. I think that worked. Let's take a look. Yes, it did. Okay, great. So now we just shove those all down there, and then the next thing I'm actually going to do is, and you know, again, this is, you'll notice how this stud just happens to line up centered on that. Well, I actually want to do a double stud there, and it's not a requirement per se, but that's just the way I'm going to frame it up. So I'm going to just shift this guy over 0.75, and that basically lines his edge up on the center of this. Let's get out of that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now you can see that it's right there. Okay, so now begins the trimming process. So really easy. What you want to do is you want to grab this toolbar from the Medeek tools, and this is actually part of the Truss plugin. Okay, so this trim tool comes in real handy, and this can be used, you know, not only for the Truss plugin but also for geometry from the wall plugin, foundation plugin, or any other geometry for that matter. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that, and I'm going to click this face right here, and then I will just go ahead and click the ends that I want to trim off. So I want to trim off these two ends. Okay, and you'll notice that it's trimmed those studs. And then if I want to keep trimming, you know, you could jump out of the tool, or you just hit the escape key. That allows you to select a new face for trimming purposes. And now I'm going to go ahead and trim these guys. Okay, so I'm just going to trim these. Just keep selecting them. You don't have to keep redoing the tool. You just select the face, and then now you can keep trimming per that same face. Okay, so I'm just coming here and trimming all these studs out. Alright, that's pretty easy. Now we want to trim off the ends of that, so I'm going to hit escape again, select that face now, and then trim these two guys at the ends. Okay. And you can see this here top plate extends beyond the wall. You know, we could deal with that later, but it's not too big of a concern right now. Okay, so that's got that, and now all we want to do is the easiest thing in my opinion is just take these, jump into this group, copy these two guys. Let's see it. I'm going to mirror them using this little mirror tool. I think TIG makes this mirror tool. There's a whole bunch of them out there. This one I particularly like. I'm just going to mirror it and no, and okay, now we've got a mirror of that. We've got another group out here, so you can see that we can go ahead and trim these guys. Okay, and you know, we could have just taken that whole group, brought another group over here and dropped it in place and then trim it some more, but it's just easier to trim these guys first and mirror them over. So I'm just going to select the trim tool again and trim these guys out. And like I said, it's pretty easy. It's not too hard to do. Okay, so now, you know, we got the skeleton there. There's our gable framed wall. Oh, we didn't, so this guy right here, what we want to do now is we want to jump back in here and probably mirror this particular stud, or, you know, we could do a number of ways of doing it, but I'm just going to mirror it. That'll make it easy. Okay, so now we've got this, the stud there holding up the ends of that gable peak right there. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. You know, there is more we could mess around with. Obviously, this probably wouldn't project out here. We'd need to trim this off, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And also right here, you know, you'll probably trim this particular piece back on this ridge board here, because you've got this gable wall jumping up here into it. But let's not be too worried with those particular details. Right now, you know, we've got this little bit of annotations and such going on with the walls and windows. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I want to do with that. You know, you can kind of get in here and move around. Again, this wall panel now is no longer editable, so you're kind of on your own. It's a manually edited wall panel. We could just jump into this wall panel, grab these, all of these entities here, and you know, we could shift them down or do whatever we want with them. It's just kind of whatever we want to do. For now, though, I'm just going to erase them just so we get them out of our way here for now. Actually, let's see here. Oh, what am I doing? Here we go. These ones are actually part of this that group. Okay, fine. And so now, you know, we've still got to deal with the sheathing, right? So let's turn that back on, the wall sheathing. And right. So question is, where do we want to trim that to? Yeah, it's up to you. You can trim it to wherever you want. I'm just going to trim it to the bottom of these outlookers. I think that's reasonable enough. So I'm just going to click this outlooker face here and then just click this side. And now we trim that and then hit escape. Select this face, go ahead and trim that side, and there we go. There's our sheathing. And then I'm going to turn on our cladding and repeat that process. I've already got that one selected, so I'm going to hit that, hit escape, click that, and there, we're done. Alright. So that's pretty much it. I mean, oh, and then the gypsum. Yeah, I mean, we probably might as well do that as well, if I can find the layer I want right there. So this one, I don't know, we could trim it to pretty much whatever we like. I'm just going to trim it to the wall there. Select that face of that wall, of that top plate, and then escape, select this face there. Alright, that should do it. And you know, maybe that doesn't extend all of there, maybe it extends over, you know, to this top of this, you know, and if it doesn't, we can trim it some more. But I think you get the idea. The key takeaway I think here is that this trim tool that's included with the Truss plugin is a very valuable little resource for manually editing these members, and is very useful. So you know, you can see that it's pretty quick and easy. I mean, it's not as bad as one might think. And let's just go ahead now and turn back on. Oh, we do have that we want to trim. That's correct. So you know, we forgot about that. Again, same process. I'm going to select this face, and I'm just going to go ahead and trim these. So let's see. Escape. Select that face. Boom. We've got them. And maybe it doesn't go all the way up there. Maybe it comes down to here. I don't know. It's it just depends how you want to show that. And let's turn on our sheathing and cladding and our soffit just to kind of show you the end result. And the soffit turn back on. I think we got everything back on. Okay, good. So there you have it. Not much to it. Just there's our gable framed wall. You know, you can see right there we need to change that. So we'll go back in there. We'll just we'll change that soffit cut. A lot of people always ask me this. I might as well show it again. Change that soffit cut from no, put it to 0. That will go ahead and trim those soffits, so that, or those overhanging tails, so that everything is nice and clean in that soffit. Right. All right. And yeah, just so you can see what happened there, let's turn that soffit back off. Here we go. Roof. Gosh, there you are. Yeah, so you can see that the rafter tails have been trimmed accordingly. Alright, any more questions, let me know. Doing the shed gable end is essentially the same idea, you know, rather than 2 inclines, you've only got 1 incline, and then you... But I think the thing to realize is if you take a wall and you change its height and get it above, you know, the gable roof, then you can then just simply use the trim tool, and it makes it really quick and easy versus trying to extend studs or anything like that. You know, it makes it, that would be difficult in my opinion. So anyways, if you have any ideas on this or questions, let me know. But hopefully in the next month or 2 I can move off of the complex roof module and get back onto the wall plugin. I do have a number of things I'm trying to get done there as far as these other tools, extend the join. There's just a whole number of tools that need to be addressed. So alright, thank you very much.